mic keeps falling down though. It doesn't stay up. Is there that? Drop it down.
Let's try that, Michael. Could you do standing up?
Yeah, it's probably better.
Sorry.
Such a thing is impossible.
I don't know what microphone that is, though.
Huh? What's it?
This microphone is fine. Is that okay like that? It's stuff in there. No, like the other one. Like this. Like that. Stay like the other way. I have a feeling that we're going to be outside.
Of a familiar sensation began to arise in his stream.
That's the danger of live radio, but we'll be okay.
What's the one that you have?
Gently and easily, upwards and along, until it reached the distant mountains and fell softly
So I'll do like a little intro,
again.
like a 4 or 5 minute intro. Okay?
Who's your watch?
Right.
That's correct. So we have a minute and a half?
Well, we have a minute and a half.
You're sure that this mic going down is going to be okay?
It's going down again?
Well, this is severely down.
Okay, we'll keep that as a backup. If this doesn't work, we'll go to that one, okay? No, point it back, we'll start with that.
Oh,
And if it doesn't work...
This is the one problem.
Okay, leave it alone like that.
That's it.
I've always been in trouble with the authorities.
Once more gathering momentum in the downward plunge, it forgets its passage across the desert.
Copernicus, if I adjusted to go to that microphone, okay? Stay with that one again.
But the sands whisper. We remember.
Well, all right. You're listening to Soundscapes, Explorations in Radio, Sound, and Music. My name is Peter Schmittig, and that was Priscilla Smith, reciting a Sufi tale. 2 weeks ago on Soundscapes, we were joined by Copernicus, and we spoke to him and played tracks from his 4 albums. In my humble estimation, these 4 albums are among the most interesting recordings made in the last 15 years. The first album was called Nothing Exists, the second, Victim of the Sky, the third, Deeper, and Copernicus' last release was entitled Null. Who is Copernicus? Let me read a couple of paragraphs from a piece from Ear Magazine written by Leah Silverman. I believe this was published in 1988. Copernicus II, as he once called himself, may well resemble his namesake, a towering presence with long, wavy silver hair. This philosopher of the 80s has a physique strong enough to support the enormous weight of his ego. But what sets him apart from the astronomer Copernicus is that he sees the world through a microscope rather than a telescope, reducing everything to a subatomic level at which change is constant. I believe that nothing exists, he declares. I believe that we do not exist. I believe that we do not stay the same from one moment to the next, and by not staying the same from one moment to the next, we are not really here. Copernicus indulges a wild, nihilistic streak based on the idea that life, death, and birth are pure hogwash. It's a total illusion, he claims. It's really a horrible thing to believe in. So I call myself Copernicus because I am in that tradition of people who deflated man's vision of himself, and I stand for a new vision of what reality is. But why Copernicus? Why not Shakespeare or General Grant? I really feel I have something equally important to say as the first Copernicus, he explains. Until the first Copernicus came along, the Western world had believed for 2,000 years that the Earth was the center of our system, and that the sun went around it. then this guy came along and blew away the world with this revolutionary thought that challenged man's way of looking at himself. Seeing that, I thought my message, my philosophy, my way of looking at things is as important as his. Copernicus' vision rings clear in atomic nevermore and nothing exists. Living in illusion is an error and the cause of all human suffering, he was. Come to the end of the illusionary human world. Come into atomic nevermore. No past, no future, no present. And that was from an article written by Leah Silverman in Air magazine. On his 4 albums, Copernicus performed with musicians, at times many, many musicians. But there is another side to him. Copernicus also gives solo poetry performances. Indeed, he recently gave some fascinating performances at Symphony Space. Symphony Space. Oh, why couldn't I pronounce Symphony Space? I am pleased to say that Copernicus has again joined us, and for the next 25 minutes or so, he's going to be performing his poetry. So sit back and let us explore the voice of Copernicus. The first piece that Copernicus is going to read, well, not read, he's going to perform. This is not a reading, this is a performance. The first piece is from his latest release, No, and it is called The Authorities.
I've always been in trouble with the authorities. The authorities who by whatever means would try to see for me and have me see as they see, when in the volcanic loneliness of the mind's adventure, to tear the hypnosis away from your eyes and dare to see for yourself what you see, and dare to speak what you see, and then surely be in trouble with the authorities. The authorities! The authorities who would deny my power to put together the absolute puzzle. Come lunch with the monster. Let's eat the authorities who would burn you for telling them the sun was the center of the solar system. Who would burn you for telling them they did not exist. The robot-eyed authorities who would dogmatize freedom. They would harness the atom and place a chastity belt around every erring imagination. When in the ring of the moment, every atom is its own authority, no matter what moronic democratic vote takes place. The authorities, I've always been in trouble with them. Whether they held the Bible in the air and condemned me in the name of their bullshit God of love, I was in trouble with them. Even when they had 6 stripes on their khaki uniforms or a star on their shoulder, I was in trouble with them. Even when they were the king of heaven or the king of hell, I was in trouble with them. Always with my fist in the air, challenging, questioning, analyzing, challenging, 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 challenging in a volcanic atomic explosion of every fucking minute. Why one is not 2? There is no such thing as death. The senses are liars. Nothing exists. No one exists. Oh, take me into this anarchic dance of freedom at every fucking moment. Take me into this heaven of free expression where I even challenge my own non-existent self. There is no authority. There are no authorities. There is no authority. There are no authorities. There is no authority. There are no authorities. There is no authority. 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 Yeah.
Well, all right. That was The Authorities. The next piece performed album Deeper, and it is entitled Once, Once, Once Again.
Come now, in my solitude, where I can see inspiration shouts in beats like the pounding of my awareness, and it drives into the heart of the mystery, where hope is the revolutionary, naming every illusion a false friend, an enemy, in the mystical struggle that uncovered the master illusion. Life! 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 And the illusion comes! And comes! And comes! It comes through the senses, like through the tears, every day. In the opening of the eye, where all is summoned. Once again.
And that was Once, Once, Once Again, in the album Deeper. And this was the first piece, The Authorities, is from No. It is entitled Inside Here.
Inside here, the neutrons, protons, electrons, and quarks, trillion-year-old travelers, survivors of the initial explosion, hurling through space, impersonal monsters, fulfillers of the law. Protons, neutrinos, atoms, cells, molecules, life, death, beginning and end, in the no beginning and no end. X-rays, alpha, beta, gamma rays, antimatter, vacuums, silence. Silence in the squeal of eons that pours forth with its subatomic symphony in the immortal grip of superlaw, and resting the mind in its spatial cushion. Only the mind can make the blind human eyes see, and only the mind can free the mind of the human lies of life, death, and identity. And when there is nothing to say, nothing to do, but lie naked on the earth and feel the wind, and your mind loosens its grip on the center of your being, atoms at every moment dropping off, and your body turns into a cloud of atoms, light, alive with fury, floating in a world that is never to be left, intimate with truth, feeling basic and near to truth.
If I was inside here, I know. Next we'll hear a piece which was recorded. Actually, it's from Copernicus' first album, Nothing Exists. And it was called Nagasaki.
Nagasaki! Hiroshima! The atomic bomb is this size. Nagasaki! Hiroshima! No rock poem can sing about the power of power. Power is power. Power works in the law. Kraft is Kraft. Kraft macht richtig. Might makes right. Power works in the law. Power is power. I'm not here. No one is here. The sound of existence has disappeared into its own reality. Life does not exist. Birth does not exist. Death does not exist. The earth does not exist. Copernicus does not exist. WBAI does not exist. Nothing exists. 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 You think that your silence is going to change things? You think that your silence is going to change the structure of the atom? The fall of the electron upon its own proton. Proton kissing neutron, watching the electron walk upon its own ring, turn into its own heart, feeling the ultimate sense of reality, turning into its own smoke, kissing and rolling in harmony to the old dance of life, the dance of the song that drove the dream, that drove the harmony of peace, and the peace walked in peace. For within the power of the proton, and in the power of the neutron, and in the electricity of the electron, there is peace. There is peace. There is harmony. Feel that harmony. Let your body loose. Understand that harmony. Feel 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 that harmony. That harmony may be gone.
Okay. That means Nagasaki. Well, nothing exists. Next, Copernicus is going to do, well, he's going to do something that he does quite magnificently. He's going to improvise. Right here, live on WBAI, Soundscapes, explorations in radio sound and music. Copernicus is going to improvise a poem.
The old days were clean. The sweat in the streams of the old eyes. The buried kiss that stuck into the mud's mind. The dreams of the old hair. The striking baseball bat that kisses the sky. The old poems that touch the womb. That touch the calves of Nevermore in its own lick. Touching and streaming in the old sounds where it was clear in the strength of the touch, in the smell of the nose, and the sight of the eyes. Kiss, bend with my stream, bend into the old turn, into the world that could never be seen, into the song of the old Adam's kiss, the dreaming souls, bent into the sky where the magic sweat crashed into its own sky and held the strength of the old music, the music that bent into its own kiss, standing still by the ice storm of Nevermore as the sky crashed and the minutes clicked and the tick-tock of all the souls bent themselves into the windmill of kissing, kissing alone by the stream, by the dangerous rock, by the old sigh, by the steeple where the priests stand and smile. Turn my singing, turn the gifts of no time, turn the dreams of the stream's kiss, banish the mind's toil, turn my kiss into its own magic, rhythm into its own kiss, radio my blood into the skeletal dream that could never touch, and eat the screaming kiss of spontaneous streaming atoms flying through the electron's kiss, atomic walking bomb, touch me now, so kisser, bend the moon, bend the moon, bend the hypnotic
got about, well, let's see, 6 or 7 minutes left. We could talk for a bit. Chris, hi.
Hi.
That was something else. It's funny, just, to a certain extent, this is an exercise in, this show exists to teach people about the art of audio. And boy, that was a lesson in writing game. It was amazing, but it was like, whoa. It made me see, in some ways, well, this whole show, with you, the harmonic choir, and with the electronic music we've been doing, it made me see how humble we are here with just our microphones. But, humble, too, in relation to a real theater. But still, it was amazing doing this on the radio. How did you feel doing it here on the radio instead of in a theater? Have you ever done it before for radio? I mean, something like this?
Well, this was really a longer time. I've performed quite a bit. A 4-hour show at WSOU with musicians also. So that was some time ago. But no, not this intense.
This was intense. This was indeed quite intense. One thing I wanted to, I've been reading a lot more about you on the press kit you did. And I don't know why I'm asking this, but it's something that clicked. In 1961, you were coming back from Europe on a boat trip.
Right.
And something clicked inside you.
On that boat, right. No doubt about it.
Can we talk about that a
Yeah,
little
that
bit?
was a serious moment. And
It's just something that in reading about you just fascinating.
very
Something that
interesting
just
how
made
you
me
pick up on all these little details that are so important to me. It's I'm on a boat, and I just decided that. Where did you find that?
It was in an article, in one of the articles.
It was on that boat that I decided that I would be an artist for the rest of my life, and that my definition of an artist, a true artist, was someone who searched for something to say, had something to say, and then took the time to say it in whatever means that he chose to take. Now, I've used different means to express myself. But you see, there was a long time when I don't really feel I had something to say. And, well, it's been some time now, but there was a long time I didn't really feel I had anything of greatness to say before I was 30. And it was a terrible time of searching. It's a searching time. I don't think we really have, well, I guess it's relative, but I didn't have anything to say until I was 34, 35, something.
Yeah, there were a couple of authors, different authors who spoke of that. Plato spoke of that, and Charles Bukowski spoke of that.
But it was that moment that really wonderful how you picked it up. Was that moment that I really dedicated my life, and I dedicated my life to understanding how this had to be done. Because I was a student of history, I knew what society did to artists, especially artists who told them that things that they didn't want to hear. And anybody who was a true artist in his own time would always be telling his society what they didn't want to hear. In the old days, they burned you at the stake if you told them something that they didn't want to hear. Today, you get your taxes checked by the IRS.
Today they label you.
They label you. So, but I didn't care, because to me, art is a search for truth of myself. By the public giving me the opportunity to attack myself in a sense, I grow, and that is the beauty of art. That's the great privilege of being a true artist, is that you grow. A true artist will grow through his art, and that's your payoff. If you never get paid, that is your payoff. It's a wonderful payoff, because here you are documenting yourself either in a record or on a painting or a poem. And then you see yourself growing right in front of your own eyes, and you say, "Gee, that was what I was a year ago." I mean, I've just attacked Jesus Christ, right? But I have writings when I was kneeling at a bed and talking to Jesus, and Jesus was my Savior. So I mean, in other words, I could see how I have changed, and how everybody, if you care about change, if you care about growth, if it is growth.
That exhilaration must be most intense for an artist who performs, though.
Well, the adrenaline is the greatest drug there is. Especially when I perform. Now, you just saw me for 20 minutes. This last thing, it was not Symphony Space, it was Synchronicity Space. I did this 4 shows recently. Synchronicity.
Yeah.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, I would have screwed that up even more.
And so the thing is, I would go an hour and a half, and when that adrenaline starts pumping, it's wonderful. It's really, it's an exhilarating thing, especially when you love what you're doing.
It's just a risky thing doing live, anything live. Live radio has its risks. You call synchronicity space, symphony space. It has bigger risks than that too. It's just that it is a risky business. This whole live gig. Are you going to be performing somewhere soon?
Well, what we did, we had such a tremendous reaction to this.
At Synchronicity.
The place is filled every time, and we're talking now about taking that particular show into Midtown. So this is a blowout. A lot of people won't believe it, but here we are. Copernicus may be in the Midtown Theater now.
That'd be quite amazing. I mean, really, it's like, you know, this was like trying to, really amazing recording it. Not recording it, but just dealing with it on that humble microphone.
There are 4 albums, you know, and those albums are also still available in a couple stores here in Manhattan, in Midnight or Tower Records downtown. That a lot of these pieces with the tremendous musicians like Pierce Turner and Larry Kerwin and Tom Hamlin that I've been working with from day one. It's just that this opportunity to perform by myself was an opportunity I just couldn't let go of. But we'll certainly be performing with these musicians in the near future.
Okay, and I'd very much like to thank you for being with us again.
I want to thank WBAI also for giving me this opportunity to come by.
Yeah, you've been listening to the station for a while, haven't you? Well, for a while. But anyway, you've been listening to Soundscapes, Explorations in Radio, Sound, and Music. My name is Peter Schmittig. Tonight on Soundscapes, we've had various different artists. And next week, I believe Andrew Phillips is going to be doing a thing on archive. Not entirely positive, but I do believe that that's what we're going to be doing next week on Soundscapes. Next on WBAI, we're going to be listening to a rebroadcast of the WBAI Evening News, and tonight it's going to go on exactly at 11 o'clock. You saw that cool thing about symphony space.
That's no big thing.
It is no big thing. It's just so.
It was perfect.
In the news tonight, you saw your prize.
Copernicus has joined us. Copernicus is a modern poet who, in the poems which he is about to perform, deals with things. And let's just get down here and get ready, and anytime Copernicus is ready, well, we'll start.
Screaming with its own blue village, walked slowly where rocks hang loose, screaming into its own mirror, mirror onto its own dream, dream into its own kiss, kiss onto its own soul. Athens all alone, Tula, Tula walking where the pillars could only dream, melody in its own voice, walk where the lack of rings could no longer be seen. Dakar on the sound of the throne where the village beat splashed upon its own boat, the boat to the end of Nevermore, Nevermore onto its own grip, the old Dutch and the sound of the Portuguese, the sound of the Portuguese and the sound of the Dutch, the sound of the English, English Dutch, English Dutch, English Dutch, English Dutch. Take me, gold mine. Talk with Zimbabwe. Lord with my own long soul. Soul in my own prayer. Where the village mirror reflects the visions of Nevermore. And the ashtrays of the songs wash their ashes into the sea. And the sea laughs like a fool. But wise men turn their own cheek And wise men never hear the song. Wise men never see the blue. Wise men never see Chichen Itza. No, no! Take me, song. I walked with the song. I walked. Ephesus. Holy dinosaurs. Pillars of Diana. I sung that dream. I walked song dream. I walked with my long song dream. My hair whitening in the air. Song told me Persepolis was gray. Gray in the songs of the King of Kings. And the lonely pillars yelling loud note songs. I couldn't wonder what song would be. Ships here, return the tongue. Visions of an old downward prayer. I'm no longer free. I see the song. The song walked on Machu Picchu. Turned me into my dance man. Sing me the song and dream. Dream where the valley no longer sees. La pirámide de la luna. El Valle de Mexico. We're not alone here. We've sung these songs before. We're not alone here. We're not alone here. And now it's my turn to curl my tongue into my song. And let the visions of an old downward prayer whisper. I sweat songs. I sweat dreams. The microscopic fume. Song atoms, electrons. Read the other book song. Read the other book song. When the succoth seed was green. And the old song sounded like the pillaging choir of the Viking's dream. Like my tone, hung with my heart sung dry, hung with my heart felt, with all that I could see, and all that I could stand. Heart song, hold on to the living soul. Hold on to the soul. Hold on to the pulse of life. Hold on in life. Brave, lone, drive. I sing here. I sing here. But I don't exist. Elvis! 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 I can help falling. Elvis! Elvis! I can help falling in love. Elvis! 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 Elvis!
Intro. White from black.
Okay. So the second poem now, White from Black.
There was once a time when all humans were black. It was a time before humans knew the cold north. The black skin protected from the torturous sun. Being on the belly of the earth, where the crying rivers brought word of cool places. And after arriving in the north, it was the snow that turned the black man wild. And the cold tinged in pink. But his blood stayed blue, binding him to the past. I have been with a black woman, and I watched our skins touch like the sun melting the snow, like the snow cooling the sun, but more like the sun boiling. Boiling the snow. There was once a time when all the humans were black. There was once a time when all the humans were black. There was once a time when all humans were black. 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 Czerny. Schwarz. Negro. 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 Black. 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 Black.
Okay. Momentarily. Third part. Rock.
Allah Akbar. God is great. Allah Akbar. God is great. La ilaha illa Allah. There is no God except God. Osiris sings a song 3,000 years before that prayer. Isis dreams on the walls of the stars. Horus walks into the dream, building the ideas on the walls of Nevermore as the Nile crisscrosses into its dream. And the Diet Coke cracks into the songs of baptism, in original sin, in last judgment, in heaven, eternal life, in hell, one God, the Trinity, killing of Abel by Cain, the crucifix, immortality of the soul. All on the walls of ancient Egypt. All on the walls of ancient Egypt. All from Amun-Ra, 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 Ra, 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 Ra. Chocolate song. Dark as the Nile crosses through the Sahara. And the beat-down dreams of all the kisses crisscross into my and their dreams. And the screams of the night kiss the sound. And Menace walks into Zachara. And Zachara kisses all the turns of the night. And Ramses builds Abu Simbel. Abu Simbel kissing all the dreams of the night. Walking where the pillars can only scream. Confronting all the civilized kiss. All the dreams of the loneliness. All the poems of the madness. All the kisses. All the madness. All the force. Building and joining Upper and Lower Egypt. Building and joining Upper and Lower Egypt. Ameda Salana. Building and seeing and confronting truth. And having the power to express it in these fantastic pyramids. Cheops song into its own dream. Passion all into its own life. Walking down to the desert of truth. Into the cryptic songs of life. Meld into the song of the rounding kisses. And the bet songs lie down each story. Eating the fired kiss. Walking into the magic of the mind. Walking into the first songs of primitive law. Law into the soul. They made us. We are them. We are them. We are them. We are them. Take me now. Take me where I can see. Take me where the dreams kiss all my madness. Take me as I bow my head and look into their eyes and look into their soul and feel them walking. Come with me. Come with me into Luxor and Karnak and Komombo. Come Hatsa. Come sing to me in Chitatzit. Come Hatshepsut. Come see now. Baptize me with the virgin birth of nevermore. See me on to their own kiss where the beach songs walked. Take me now. Lay me down into the river and wash my soul into my blood. And let the visions and the kisses roll into the maddened kiss of no time. Where the bands kiss. Tired darkness. Don't let me cry now. Don't let me dissolve my dream. Don't let me forget all the kiss. Don't let me turn all the souls of all my dreams. I touch your hand. Touch me now. Now in the end. Now in the beginning. Now here in nevermore. I am with you. I am with you in your tomb. Come, Tutankhamen! Come, Tutankhamen! Come, Tutankhamen! I love it. I love it from the truth of all my dreams. And these say all in my dreams. And I live with you. And you live with me. But we are not here. 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 We were never here. You were never here. We were never there. You were never there. I was never there. You were never here. Ah, Swain. There is no past. Yahweh! Jesus! Allah! Oh, Egypt, mother of Yahweh, mother of Jesus, mother of Allah. We were never here. We were never here. You 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 were never here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't blame me. I am not here. I'm 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 not here. I'm
We are here at WBAI in New York City, sort of. And that was Copernicus doing his own interpretation of myths, which is what it's all about today. Copernicus's work is essentially available in album form. It has 4 albums out. They're available at Tower Records, and on the albums he performs with musicians, many musicians sometimes, many musicians. 20 at a time. They're actually quite wonderful albums. And again, they're readily available at Tower Records. Copernicus will also be appearing at the Judith Anderson Theater. When is that?
We'll be doing a 2 weeks performance there in September 16th, September 30th. This is Copernicus alone concert.
Somewhat similar to what we did today. And right now, transitional music, and then we're going to go into a different mood entirely.
You want her to videotape you? Or you don't think she can shut it off, whatever you say?
Oh, hell, sure, I mean,
In fact, just make a copy and send it to you if you like.
that would be a yes. Oh, ears, yes. Oh, glasses, yes. How much time do we actually have here?
About 5 minutes.
Okay.
I'm coming back. Get ready.
Coming back. Right now.
We are back. And that's Joyce West.
In shock.
In shock. Well,
no, we know what they say. There's a famous line in showbiz, folks, that says, "How the hell do you follow an act like that?"
Well, we try. I mean,
we are going to try.
this
We're
is
going
all
to try.
This has proven to be all about
Your
yin
job.
yang.
Oh yes, and
Energy, boom, boom.
energy and it's time, folks. Not only that, but I suppose what I would like to say is that I've spent my life, sort of sweeping off the stage after someone was brilliant. So why should we change that now? Actually, we're going to do a very big change of pace, which in a weird kind of way does make some kind of connection. And what I'm going to read to you is, well, it's an old story, and maybe it's not such an old story. You can see it on any street in New York if you go out, and you can see it particularly in the winter. And it's The Little Match Girl. It was late on a bitterly cold New Year's Eve. Snow was falling. A poor little girl was wandering in the dark, cold streets. She was bareheaded and barefoot. She had, of course, had slippers on when she left home, but they were not much good, for they were so huge. They had last been worn by her mother, and they fell off the poor little girl's feet as she was running across the street to avoid two carriages that were rolling rapidly by. One of the shoes could not be found at all. The other was picked up by a boy who ran off with it, saying it would do for a cradle when he had children of his own. So the poor little girl had to walk on with her bare little feet, which were red and blue with the cold. She carried a quantity of matches in her old apron and held a packet of them in her hand. Nobody had bought any of her matches during the long day, and nobody was even going to pop her. The poor little creature was hungry and perishing with cold, and she looked in pictures misery. The snowflakes fell on her long yellow hair, which curled so prettily round her face, but she paid no attention to that. Lights were shining from every window, and there was a most delicious odor of roast goose in the street, for it was New Year's Eve. She could not forget that. She found a corner where one house projected a little beyond the next one, and here she crouched, drawing up her feet under her. She was colder than ever. She did not dare go home, for she had not sold any matches and had not left a single penny. Her father would beat her. Besides, it was almost as cold at home as it was here. They had only the roof over them, and the wind whistled through it as though although they stuffed up the biggest cracks with rags and straw. The little hands were almost stiff with cold. Oh, one little match. That would do some good. If only she dared, she would pull one out of the packet and strike it on the wall to warm her fingers. She pulled one out. Hush! How it sputtered and blazed. It burnt with a bright, clear flame, just like a little candle. And she held her hand round it. Now the light seemed very strange to her. The little girl fancied that she was sitting in front of a big stove with polished brass feet and handles. There was a splendid fire blazing it and warming her so beautifully, but what happened? Just as she was stretching out her feet to warm them, the flame went out. The stove vanished, and she was left sitting with the end of the burnt match in her hand. She struck a new one. It burnt, blazed up, where the light fell upon the wall. It became transparent like gauze, and she could see right through it into the room. The table was spread with a snowy cloth and pretty china. A roast goose stuffed with apples and prunes was steaming on it. And what was even better, the goose hopped from the dish with a carving knife sticking right in its back and waddled across the floor. It came right up to the poor child, and then the match went out, and there was nothing to be seen but the thick black wall. She lit another match. This time, she was sitting under a lovely Christmas tree. It was much bigger and more beautifully decorated than the one she had seen when she peeped through the glass door at the rich merchant's house this very night. Thousands of lighted candles gleamed under its branches, and many colored pictures, such as she had seen in the shop windows, looked down at her. The little girl stretched out both her hands toward them, then out went the match. All the Christmas candles rose higher and higher, till she saw that they were only the twinkling stars. One of them fell and made a bright streak streak of light across the sky. Someone is dying, thought the little girl. For her old grandmother, the only person who had ever been kind to her, used to say, when a star falls, a soul is going to God. Now she struck another match against the wall, and this time it was her grandmother who appeared in the circle of flame. She saw her quite clearly and distinctly, looking so gentle and happy. Grandmother, cried the little creature, oh, do take me with you. I know you will vanish when the match goes out. You will vanish like the warm stove and the delicious goose and the beautiful Christmas tree. She hastily struck a whole bundle of matches because she did it so long to keep her grandmother with her. The light of the matches made it as bright as day. Grandmother had never before looked so big or so beautiful. She lifted the little girl up in her arms, and they soared in a halo of light and joy afar, far above the earth, where there was no more cold, no hunger, and no pain, for they were with God. In the cold morning light, the little girl sat in the corner between the houses, with rosy cheeks and a smile on her face, dead. Frozen to death on the last night of the old year. New Year's Day broke on the little body sitting at the ends of the burnt-out matches. She must have tried to warm herself, they said. Nobody knew what beautiful visions she had seen, or what a halo she had entered with her grandmother upon the glories of the new year.
And like true professionals, we're going to end exactly at 11:29. And that was Joyce West reading The Little Match Girl. And this was Shelf Life, and we're out of here.
What?
The murder looks like me.
What?
I told you I want anything that looks
Sorry
like
about
me.
Did you look inside?
Take it back. I don't want to look.
Let us look inside.
I really
Yeah, true. It's not that big, but look, put it down.
I got it. I'll take it. Just get the box and the soda and just
Doesn't mean no.
don't talk. I got it.
Tickles for ears. Where's the beef? Ha ha ha.
That's a
I
mouth.
asked you not to talk.
Right, how are you? I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine.
Fine. All right?
It's all right.
It's not all right. Bud's not supposed to speak. Lunchtime fun with the new Ruby, too. Galactic Gumshoe. Friday at 1 o'clock. Right after Gary Nolan.
Eastern Standard, WBAI's monthly program of Asian American news and views, looks at the shifting realities of gay and lesbian life in Asian American communities.
I'm Amy Chen.
And I'm Lawrence Chuar.
Join us on Eastern